did you feel disappointed or disrespected with the way that played out?
Honestly, and I'm being quite honest with you. I mean, 100%. I really didn't lose any sleep over that angle at all. I know a lot of my fans did. That's what I was disappointed.
Yes, we did.
No, that's what I was disappointed with more than anything. I was disappointed because I know my fans were let down because they really, really wanted me to win that night. And if I would have won that night, it would have been great. It would have been a great moment. It really would have. We'd look back in history and say, man, Booker T, he did it. But I just never have looked at the wrestling business like most people do. I've always looked at this business as a movie, a script. And I'm getting the script, and the script was, for me to lose that night. I thought it was a huge win for myself as well as African Americans for me to make it to the main event of WrestleMania against Triple H. That was a huge win, just being in that position. I thought I won. I really did. And but the only regret I have is the regret that my fans had from that night more than anything. I always felt like when I won the world title in WWE, it was the right time. When I beat Rey Mysterio, I mean, it's King Booker. Something no king has ever done. Winning the world championship. But it would have been a great moment. But it's just not something that I've really ever lost any sleep about, just because the check was too big. No, I'm serious. The check was way too big for me to complain for that night.
Yeah. Well, that leads to a next question. Was that the biggest check you've got?
Oh yes, it was the biggest check I ever seen. For a kid coming from South Park, Texas, making no money to quit high school and end up in prison and end up getting a check that big where you could pay buy a house with. I never thought. I tell people all the time, if you would have paid me $1 million a year and they said, Book, you're not going to win any titles, you know what? You're not going to even be on the show. You're going to have to sit at home.
You're the security guard at catering.
You know what I did? I would have set my ass. Because it's
a job.
It's always been a job. It's always been about taking care of my family. It's always been about making money. It hadn't been about being famous or anything like that. It's been about staying relevant in order for me to be able to, continue to make money and support my family. But I've never been a guy that looked at professional wrestling and said, man, I wish I'd have won. I wish I'd have lost. I've never once gone to, a producer or went into, the booking office and said, hey, man, I got a great idea. Not once.
Well, but the reason why I asked that question is in some of the storytelling, I was like, well, if the end goal was that you were going to lose, why did they have to say certain things that were said about your past? Even the pinfall, where he hits the pedigree and it seems like it's 45 seconds. I haven't watched the match. It's coming up because it's Mania season.
But watch the match because there's so much that goes in before that finish with Flair coming out.
It's amazing. No.
Yeah,
so the match unquestionably is amazing.
No, I mean,
I've thought about this a lot.
I understand how people feel and think, but I don't think it was any malintent that went into that match as far as let's go ahead here and purposely make Book look. I can't.
I got you.
I refuse to believe that just because I've been around the company for way too long. and they could have got rid of my ass a long time ago. And the thing is, I've been one of the most, a lot of people don't know it, but I'm like one of the most outspoken guys in this business. I've I should have got fired a long time ago. I'm serious, just because I've been known to, just blow up. But I've always had my respect. And the thing is, I've always looked at the business there again as a job. I've never looked at it. And I understand the racial components that went along with that storyline. But at that moment in time, a lot of people don't understand, and this is a part of the story that a lot of people don't know about. So you're getting a spoiler here. I mean, not a spoiler, but
scoop.
A scoop.
Thank you, Booker.
Yeah, you're getting a scoop. At that time, I was. It came from WCW, and no one in the world knew my real story. No one knew about my prison life. No one knew about any of that stuff. No one knew about my background. And Jim Ross said, "Book, this is something you got to talk about. This is something the world needs to hear. Some kid that's going through something really needs to hear your story." And that's why that whole story came to what it was. A lot of people don't know that. That's the first time I'm actually really talking about that. And that's when, after that, I wrote my book, From Prison to Promise. So a lot of components played into that, because the one line I think, people might remember the most is when Triple H said, people like you don't deserve to be here. That's motivation for all of us to get up off our asses and prove them wrong. Whether I won or lost that night, didn't matter. I kicked his ass all over that arena, Harlem Hangover, everything. So it was real as it possibly could be for me from an emotional perspective, and a lot of stuff that went into the angle. I approved all of it.
Well, can I ask something, actually? Do you mind if I ask something?
Go for it, baby.
Wait, so do you think that you would have, like, if Jim Ross didn't come there and tell you that, like, hey, we need to tell your story, do you think you ever would have gone on to do what you've done and talk to, people and talk to the youth and write the books?
If I would have, it would have been I needed someone to let me know that was, because I was hiding it.
Right.
I didn't want people to know about that part of my life.
Yeah. Oh, I get it. Yeah.
And the internet was a different thing.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it wasn't
exactly
what it is, yeah.
So I needed that, motivation to actually do that. And JR was the, motivating factor. I give him a lot of credit, you know what I mean? Because I don't know if I would have ever did it if I would have. So.
And I think, too, though, if you look at that match and, like, if everybody who was involved at the time looks back, hindsight being 2020, there's no doubt Booker should have gone over.
It's no doubt.
Right, like
you know what? I remember one guy, one of the office guys, he goes, I'm walking through the hallway, and he goes, "Book, you should have won." And I said, "Thanks, man. I appreciate it."
But at the same time, it's not like they're shooting Rocky 2 and Carl Weathers is reading the script and sees that he loses to Balboa at the end and goes to Stallone and goes, "Hey man, we need to talk about this ending." you know what I mean?
100%.
Like you know what I'm saying? Like we need to talk about this. Like this is like I get what you're saying, Book. I mean, he's always looked at it like a job, and like
that's true. That's true too. Yeah, I mean, I've always looked at this as a job. Even what I'm doing right now, I'm doing commentary. I mean, it's a job. My job is to go out there and entertain and try to get these young guys over in my own way. You know what I mean? It may not be conventional.
Hey, but it's you.
But it's real.
Me. Yeah, but it's real.
It's real.
Yeah.